Hello, YouTube Frog. The new Genshin Impact 3.2 banner has been announced on Twitter. In fact, I didn't even realize they were announced because we're just in an odd timing. Usually they get announced on like Sunday or Saturday, but today they got announced on Monday instead, which is such an odd timing. So I apologize for the late video, but let's go over these banner and talk about how good they are in terms of your values and stuff. And as always, if you're not subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe. It helps me out a lot. It's free. You got that. Starting off with the 5-star rerun, which are Yae, Miko, and Childe. Previously, we already made a longer video covering both of these characters in short format. They are not necessarily every single thing about them, but it does contain a good amount of information, so check that video out. But the short version is that both these characters are fine. Childe generally it's above average in terms of his role values, simply because he has really strong team like internationals or recently integrational. Hold up on that a little bit though, because we're still exploring with Thumbail, but Childe is a really strong character. He's just a little difficult to play compared to your average, so be aware of that if you are gonna pick him up, but he's a really strong and really fun character. And of course, Miko is a excellent Electros off-field DPS, mostly paired with officials to do some kind of aggravate team setup now, but can be used in another team comp as well, so there's that. The 4-star of this banners is not that bad, okay? I think a lot of people look at this and think it's like pretty bad, and I actually think it's not that bad. Starting off with Layla, which is gonna be the newest cryo characters in Genshin Impact. We have to fieldcraft Layla, but our current prediction is that she's gonna be a crowd shooters, but we already have Thoma in the game that fill that role. Layla is kind of like a hybrid between damage and shield, where she also kind of do some kind of off-field damage other than just providing shield. In terms of defensive utility, Diano most definitely have Layla beat, since Diano have a shield on top of the heal, and Diano have really good constellation that increase your healing, or SC6 increase your elemental mastery by 200 if you have more than half HP, which is really good. And then in terms of damage, Rosaria probably have Layla beat, just because Layla is like a half and half character. So if you're looking for damage rather than defensive option, Rosaria is going to be the go-to, and if you're looking for defense, Diano is like better choice. So where does Layla come in? And it's kind of like mix of the two, half and half. It's hard to say if there's ever going to be a case where you just really prefer Layla. Maybe like the shield on Layla is enough for you, and so you rather just do a little bit more damage over using Thoma, but you also just don't want to go full damage on Rosaria. Probably like a very specific scenario. It's hard to say for now, but we'll see how this character goes. Thoma is a pretty interesting one. At first, when he first came out, you can kind of play him as a Hutao Pyro shooters, but that kind of got phased out with the release of Yelan Sing Shoes and whatever with your Hutao. Now, of course, Yelan's a 5-star, so it might not be the most comparable thing, but nevertheless, Thoma doesn't have a lot of use case nowadays. You can play him in Burgeon team, but Burgeon as a concept overall is kind of still not necessarily the team that I would recommend to people. If you want to play Burgeon, you can play something like Childe, Bennett Casa, and Nahida rather than trying to play Thoma. Of course, again, Thoma is a 4-star, so the value is not the same. Its constellation are not bad though, especially when it comes down to the Burgeon playstyles. Especially its constellation for that allows you to restore 15 energy, which kind of solves its energy problem. But it's not a character I would particularly go for. And then we have heizou, which is definitely a worse synchros, especially with the release of Thumbail. Now, heizou is not that weak since he's still a Anemo Callus user, so he can carry TDDS and BB set on him to just do the buffing capability problem. And of course, heizou does have a interesting playstyle as a Anemo main DPS if you do want to go for that route. But in general, these 4-star are not necessarily the greatest, and unfortunately, the character's banner is just not that great. Let's move on to the weapon banner, which is really interesting. I think she really liked this weapon banner, but not like super good. The thing about this weapon banner is, of course, we have the 2 signature weapon for the 5-stars, which are the Blade, also known as Kagura, or the Polar Star, which is Childe's signature weapon. Let's start with the Polar Stars because crit stat bow is just really strong. Crit stat bow, no matter which bow it is, like Thundering Paws, Aqua, or the Polar Stars, are all really strong, and most of the time can be used universally across all the bow DPS characters, whether that be Childe, who is the signature holder for Polar Stars, or even Ganyu or like Yelan. So crit rate bow or crit bow in general just have a lot of value for your entire account. So having a crit bow on the banner is always a good start. Of course, when it comes down to using Childe with Polar Star, you do have to modify your rotation a little bit to make sure you proc all the stacks, which are something like a quick N1, a quick charge attack, and then like E charge attack or something like that. There's a very specific rotation to proc Polar Stars. I actually don't remember off my head. It's in one of my earlier Childe guide videos, so maybe there's that. But overall, short crit bow in general just have a lot of values for your account if you don't already have one. So that's a really good start. And then the second 5-star weapon, which is the Blade Blade, it's honestly not bad either. It is a crit substat catalyst, and it's basically just act as a pretty big stat stick for any catalyst user that want to build crit. Now, interestingly, in the past, we don't really value Catalyst that much because most of the Catalyst users in the game just aren't great DPS. And if they are, then they prefer to either run Sac Frag or PDDS. Nowadays, I think there are a few Catalyst users that are really good with crit. Nahida being one of those, Miko being the other one. In particular, these two characters are really good when they build crit now in a very specific playstyles. If you do want a crit weapon though, just keep in mind that there's also the ultimate 4-star weapon, Will Smith. Where's my Will Smith emo? Will Smith. Where's my Will Smith? Right here. The Will Smith is also a really strong 4-star Catalyst stat stick, and at Refine 5, it often beat out Refine 1 5-star Catalyst weapon. So if you have a high Refined Will Smith and you're not particularly looking for a 5-star crit Catalyst, then the value of the banner can go down depending on you. I would say like if you are okay with either weapon, then this weapon banner is honestly like pretty decent in terms of the 5-star, because both of these are particularly usable weapon. They're not the strongest in the game compared to something like South of Thoma, but they're really good overall if you have a particular use case. Will Smith has crit damage if you're smacked in the face. That's an old meme. I mean, the Blade Blade also have crit damage. So moving on to the 4-star on this weapon banner, which are, to be honest, I really like. Let's have Favge, because you know this is the Favge. The Favge sword is one of the best weapons in the entire game, especially at Refine 5, where it's one of the best weapon you can own, even having multiple copy in your account. And it's just really ridiculously strong. And having multiple R5, maybe even free R5 in your account is really valuable, since there's so many good sword users like Bennett, Kagura, and the list go on. Definitely really strong. Phoneus Codex, it's fine. Catalysts are generally a little weird, but having a Phoneus Codex can definitely help, since Fab series is just so good. Right now, it's not being used that much. I can see it being used in the futures if we ever do find a Catalyst user that have a need to run Fab. In fact, you can run it in specific scenario right now if you have a Catalyst user that is particularly either energy hungry or just doesn't do anything and therefore doesn't require outer stats, and just use it as a energy generation method. But other than that, yeah. Nahida run Favge well, yeah, but I would rather run other stuff on Nahida. It's like it's fine, but it's not something I would consider first. Let's move on to the Dragon Bane. Dragon Bane is a really strong polearm. It has elemental mastery substat and a really good weapon passive that can be utilized by a lot of team comp, Hu Tao, Xiangling, as well as Rosaria. Dragon Bane at Refine 5 is one of the better polearm in the entire game. You can also use it in Hyper Balloon Raiden, yeah, just because you have elemental mastery substat, and Hyper Balloon Raiden with full EM build is a really strong and competitive option right now. So I think having R5 Dragon Bane, or maybe even 2 copy of R5 Dragon Bane, can improve your account value a lot, just like how having R5 Fav can be really good. Stringless is really good, especially for officials when it comes down to aggravate teams, since it provides elemental mastery substat, but also a really good amount of elemental skill damage bonus. And Fischl can utilize both of these stats really well, and because Fischl is such a core key member in any aggravate team, having an R5 stringless on your Fischl in your aggravate team is going to be really strong. So the stringless is definitely another really valuable account weapon, just because Fischl is so commonly used in a lot of team, and the stringless at Refine 5 or maybe even lower Refine is just so good on Fischls. But you can also use it on other character as well. Maybe you're playing something like one-shot burst child. In that case, the stringless could also help, since it provide you with elemental burst damage and elemental mastery. Give Fischl Elegy, yeah, but Elegy is a 5-star weapon, so
Elegy is the best 5-star weapon in the entire game, by the way.
Finally, we have the Bell. To be honest, I think the Bell is not as bad as you think. It is definitely one of the worst weapons in the entire game, which is unfortunate, but we can have 5 good weapons. Mihoyo is not going to do that. The thing about the Bell is that if we ever get a HP scaling Claymore characters in the futures, maybe like then the Bell potentially could see use. Right now, yeah, it's a dead weapon, so it doesn't have anything to be useful for, and it just, well, we will see in the futures. I can't really say it is good because future potential is not something to be dependent on. But you know, just hopium, right? Overall, I think these banners are pretty straightforward. I don't think there's like too surprising results when it comes down to the evaluation for these banners. I think if you're a veteran player, you probably already know deep down your heart about what are your thoughts of these banners. But regardless, if you enjoyed the video or maybe the video helped you out in one way or the others, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and you guys know it. And yeah, bye YouTube Frog.